I'm starting to see some very interesting uses for these things right here. This is the Command broom holder. I keep one right next to our entry door to brush off the steps when they get dirty. If you want a rain style shower head but don't want to spend the money on one for the RV, just install this on your shower roof and you have an instant redneck raining shower head. Another use is if you have one of these convenient spiral hoses on the outside of the RV but no convenient place to hang it. If you're like me, you've probably just hooked the nozzle onto the hose, so instead install a Command broom holder. Less stress on the fitting, you keep the nozzle off the ground, and it won't stretch out the hose. In our bedroom, I have this area behind the door that's just kind of wasted space, but still valuable storage space because it's out of the way of all the traffic, so it's a perfect place for our vacuum. And with this holding the vacuum against the wall and in place, we don't have to toss it under the bed on travel days. We can just leave it here when we're not using it. Welcome back, everyone. Today we're covering a few modifications and some storage and organization hacks that you may have not seen yet. It's important to maintain the moving mechanical parts, but I think a lot of us want to keep the RV looking new and nice as long as we possibly can. It can increase resale value so we can get more out of the RV when it's time to upgrade. So a little thing I do is put Command 20-pound Velcro strips on the bottom of the hard plastic bins. They keep the bins from sliding all over the place while you're driving, preventing scratching on the floor and walls inside the cabinets, and you can still remove the bin if you need to clean. I even put these Command strips under the silverware organizer, not even to prevent it from moving while we're driving, but to just keep it from moving while you're opening and closing the drawer. I put some carpet remnant I had left over from another project in the underbed storage area. We keep a large dog fence in here, along with some other larger things that can really do some damage to the floor while you're traveling. It also provides a little bit of insulation and reduces some of the noise you get when packing things away. If you don't have any extra carpet laying around, another option could be interlocking rubber gym mats to help protect the floor. I put drawer liners everywhere as well. I won't lie to you and say they help all that much with keeping things in place while you're driving, but it does protect the drawer and the contents in the drawer if they start to roll around a little bit while you're traveling. Some other rules I follow when you have storage above storage like I do here. I always put liquids on the bottom. If something falls over while driving or starts to leak, it's not going to drip down and cover everything it would if you stored it higher. If you are forced to pack liquids a little bit higher, it would be a good idea to put those containers in a sealed bin versus one with holes in it. Another thing to remember is that these are vehicles. Sports cars handle better than large SUVs because they have a lower center of gravity. So try to pack your heavy items as close to the floor as possible and save the storage higher up for lighter items. You also want to pack heavier items above or in front of the axles. Most of you by now have seen the videos of how poorly a trailer handles with excessive weight in the rear. Now with certain floor plans, obviously some of this is easier said than done. It's going to depend on where your storage is physically located in the RV, but definitely should be considered when packing a towable. This next one is a tool that I think everyone should have in their RV. If you don't have one, pick one of these up today. This is an 11-in-1 screw and nut driver by Klein Tools. You have a number 1 and number 2 Phillips head, a 1/4 inch and 3/16 inch flat head, a T10 and T15 Torx, and a number 1 and number 2 Robertson bit that you're going to find on a lot of RV interiors. You also get a 3/8 inch, 5/16 inch, and 1/4 inch nut drivers. I'll put a link to this super convenient tool down below in the video description, along with all the other products mentioned in this video. There's also a lot of coupon codes down there to save you money on things you're already buying, so please use those links. So you got torque specs for your tow vehicle lug nuts, your RV lug nuts, your hitch hardware, and unless you're the luckiest person on the planet, they're all different. A ridiculously convenient place to store all these torque specs is on the inside of your torque wrench box. Yes, you probably have them in your phone somewhere, or you might have them highlighted in your owner's manual. There's a good chance if you're tightening lug nuts, you may be on the side of the road, which is just not really a place you want to stick around for a long period of time. You have to open your torque wrench box anyway, so this, in my experience, is the quickest place to find your torque specs and get back on the road. For the last 5 years, I've been able to keep all of our videos free for everyone to watch. I refuse to charge a membership fee on this channel, and I want to keep it that way. Without sponsors, there are no videos, so I hope you'll stick around for a short message from RVmattress.com. They have a nice selection of mattresses for all budgets, and they have the oddball RV sizes you won't find in a residential mattress store. You'll find the RV bunk, 3 different king sizes, and the short queen among others. They also have a full line of pillows and bedding accessories. Their website will recommend a mattress based on how you sleep. Shipping is free and they come with a limited lifetime warranty. You have 120 nights to try out your mattress, and honestly, we slept so well in the RV that we got one for our house. Use our link and discount code down below and receive 30% off your mattress. So there's 2 parts to this next tip. If you have valve stem mounted TPMS sensors on your RV, you may have noticed your sensors are starting to score the wheels. As the wheel spins, centrifugal force is pulling that valve stem against the wheel. Something I've seen other RVers doing to prevent this from happening was installing a piece of 1/2-inch pipe insulation on the valve stem. Cut a piece that is long enough to rest against the wheel and up to the bottom of the sensor. The insulation will prevent the sensor from hitting the wheel, and obviously because it's soft, it won't damage the wheel either. Now, full disclaimer, I only know a handful of RVers who have done this, but none of them had issues with wheel balance. But the potential balance issue is definitely something worth mentioning. Okay, part number 2, you most likely have a rubber valve stem on your trailer or fifth wheel tire. Now you may be saying, I have a rubber valve stem coating, but underneath that coating is an actual metal stem. When we compare rubber valve stems versus metal valve stems, we're not talking about the stem itself, we're actually talking about how it mounts inside the wheel. A rubber valve stem is only held in by rubber bushing, so as the tire moves, there is potential for that valve stem to move as well. A metal valve stem has a solid backing inside the wheel, and there is a metal tightening nut on the outside that locks the stem against the wheel. In simpler terms, a metal valve stem is basically bolted onto the wheel. Now there's pros and cons and a much bigger discussion on rubber valve stems versus metal valve stems that we're not going to get into today. But if you're running a TPMS, ask your mechanic to install metal valve stems the next time you have your tires replaced. After years and years of overhead UV exposure, these plastic plumbing vents can become extremely brittle and eventually need to be replaced. An easy one and done modification you can do to prevent these caps from ever taking UV exposure is to cover the top of the cap with a piece of Eternabond. You can cut this piece large enough to overlap the sides if you want, but the sides don't usually take the beating from the sun that the top does. Once applied, you probably won't ever need to replace this cap, but if you do, you could just cut out a small circle to access the screw. But with no UV exposure, the vent cap and the Eternabond will probably outlast the RV. Now you obviously don't want to cover your skylights or vent covers with Eternabond, but these can get brittle over time as well. So while you're up here, just spray on a little UV protectant. I use 303 automotive protectant. It's exactly the same recipe as aerospace protectant, but it's a little bit cheaper. Now you may have your own preferred protectant and that's perfectly fine, but I would use something that's water-based. When it rains, these coatings drip off the cover and onto areas you may have to reseal later. And when you have to reseal later, sometimes things don't like sticking to surfaces that had silicone on them. Water-based products are much easier to clean off. Over the years, a few of you have reached out to me asking if I had any experience or recommendations for sewer hose removal tools. In some situations, these can get a little difficult to remove, especially for people who have arthritis or just general health issues with their hands. I've never personally used one, but before you go out and spend the money on one, these rubber strap wrenches will do the same exact thing. I will put a link to one of these down below, but I think you could probably honestly find these a little bit cheaper locally. I think Harbor Freight sells 2 of these for around $5. You could also find these at flea markets and yard sales, sometimes for even less. And you may even have one in your garage that you're not using anymore. If your hands aren't what they used to be, these can definitely be used to remove sewer hoses. You could repurpose these to also open things like jars. Just don't use the same one on your pickles as you did on your sewer hose.